Oh, okay. I need to stand
No,
up.
it's okay. So Kira need to stand up.
I need to stand up, people. Hand crank.
There's
I
no
hate
complaint.
technology. This is why I'm hand cranking. Oh, God.
Let me be live also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I have to say it's the worst on LinkedIn. Okay, go live. I'm live on LinkedIn. Okay, great.
I don't know. Yeah, LinkedIn sort of like is just a weird platform. I remember back in the day, like 10 years ago, they had a really great iPad experience.
Oh, they did.
They did, right?
They
It
did.
was
Oh,
cool.
yeah, I
It had
remember.
like these like layers of pages kind of, and it was like dope. I wish I took screenshots, but I did not, of course. And then they just changed it, and then they were like, let's make it look like Facebook. And I think that might be a clue about what's happening in their design department
I
or
don't
their
want to be
product department.
I don't want to be a cynic, but and I have good Microsoft designer friends. But Microsoft bought a couple of products and like Skype and
Oh, yeah,
LinkedIn,
okay.
and I kind of
Oh, it's a Microsoft owned?
yeah.
Say no more.
I, I don't want to generalize things like that, but
Uh,
their talent are amazing. The experience is amazing. What they did with the design system, the live design system, the organic design system that they have, it's wonderful. Microsoft is just very intriguing. It's very interesting. Uh, Very interesting. But yeah, they kind of missed the boat with Sky during the pandemic. They just missed it so much.
they missed it
Be-
hard. Like you can't miss anything harder than that.
Before it was a verb. Even my father said, "I will Skype you," and for him it was a
Yeah,
video
that's
call.
true. Yeah, that's
Uh,
true.
and now we switched to Zoom. I'll Zoom you. I'll FaceTime
Yeah.
you. So Skype just went away.
Yeah, it did. It was just like it's just forgot about itself. Like I don't exist. Okay. I wonder what happened there because the Skype also came out with. I remember them coming out with like sweet emojis, like
Yeah.
reaction sort of emojis, and I was like, okay, like you guys are doing good. And
Mm.
then they just fell off the face of the earth. I guess they were like, video calls is just a crazy trend.
It was
But
great
it'll
for
pass.
recording podcasts and even videos because you had great quality. You could use
Yeah.
external stuff, but I think I'm not sure. I want to talk about Teams someday. Teams in general. I'm not sure people said
Teams
Teams,
or
Teams,
theme?
Teams, Microsoft
Microsoft Team.
Team.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know how I feel about it. I never, for real, it's maybe, it's confirmation bias, of course. Ask someone, do you love working in Microsoft Team? And nobody said, oh, God, it changed my life.
It changed my life.
Well, it did in a way that, everything is there and you're with your colleague and all. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Slack or every, instant platform like that. But Team, kind of all in one thing. I don't know. I would love to talk about how they design Team and how they are scaling it because feel more than corporate. It's feel. I don't know.
Yeah, the way that I think what's cool about it is that they kind of preserve context,
Oh yeah.
which is really unique in the sense that like if you have a recurring meeting, you have a chat
Yeah.
that goes with that recurring meeting, and it's
yeah.
continuous through time. And so the things that you like chatted about within those meetings is just shown in a thread kind of forever, and it's like so there's kind of a aggregation of like where information is collected and stored, which I think is really cool
That's true.
and unique compared to other platforms.
And it's kind of useful. It's really useful.
Yeah, like that's pretty sweet. Like, but
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 but Microsoft Teams?
I don't know the way that the chat or like threads work. Remember, we were on a Microsoft team as guests last year, but like the way the threads work and the reactions and stuff just feels so forced, or like
So is it?
they don't feel fluid to me. I don't know.
So here a question. You switched from Android to iOS now, right?
Yeah.
So you had to relearn a lot of things.
Yes,
and you had to be okay with different way of navigating and all.
Yeah.
And now, are you good with iOS? Do you feel at ease with it? Is it very natural?
On some things, yeah. On some things, no. Like there's some really small things that are like different, and you're like, you didn't do good on this, you guys. And then there's some stuff that is like really cool as well in the interactions that you're like, oh, I didn't even know this was like a thing. Like copying and pasting and between computer and phone. For example, like that's pretty cool.
Switching from Slack to Teams, for example, Team or Teams? Is it the same kind
Teams.
of it's on Teams? Is this another world, and you have to be okay with that? The Teams will be the Android world where everything is customizable, it's powerful, you can do whatever you want. And Slack, it's more control and things like that, and you have to be okay. It's like people who use Basecamp versus Microsoft Project Manager or Jira versus Basecamp have two ways of working, even talking to each other. The way that they see a project is different. It's maybe the case when we think about Teams, because we not in a corporate world, so we don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but it's really funny. Like you look at like Teams has stickers or GIFs that are out of the box, and they're just so lame. Like,
okay, they are that much.
They're like bad work jokes. Like at a point where you're like, oh, this is like, if you got one of these from one of your colleagues, you'd be like, I don't know if we're friends anymore.
That much? Okay.
Like, yeah, let me see. Like, I think they're either stickers or like Microsoft.
You know better than me.
They're not funny. You know what I mean?
They're not. Okay.
Like, you're like, oh, here we go. I got it.
Funny is one of your metric for a lot of things. You're right.
Yeah, they're out of the box sort of one, or like their default ones that show up. You're like, oh, I have to be lame in here. Like that's what you feel like, right? Like you're like, oh, I gotta like get into that persona. Like I gotta be that guy at work. Like, oh, hello, it's Monday. Oh no, Monday. You know.
Yeah, we hate Mondays and things like that. Right.
Okay, let me just show you this. I'll just put it in Whimsy quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, which one are we in?
Navigating flow branches. You're in the
okay, super. Like, I don't know. This comes down to aesthetic, like preference and stuff. But like, oh yeah.
That's the popular sticker and memes on Teams. Oh.
That's just what shows up. You like hit it, and that's what shows up as popular. And I'm like, this is the most popular? What's going on with my colleagues?
Talking about what's going on. Let's work on a problem together.
Oh, let's work on a problem.
Yeah, we have a new problem for the week with Kira. We missed last week, but we needed a break because we don't have to explain.
Because it's Feb. Because it's like literally the worst time of the year ever.
Really.
And we are dying. No, we're okay, right, Benoît? We're
okay. It's just well, for me it's November. For you it's February. That's okay.
For me, November, February, la même chose.
The
same thing.
Exactly.
Same.
Let's go to the right tab. I will share this tab instead. Share this tab instead. Oh,
that says Google. You were already on the right one. See,
no,
this is what I'm talking about. Tab sharing. Tab sharing. It's I don't know, man.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're really right. But I don't know. There's something. Oh, I got.
There's just more privacy. I get it.
Like we need
More control.
Anyway, more control. How to deal with jumps in navigation flow. So I saw that, a couple of months ago and say, it's too complicated just to read it. Let's do something with Cura with it. I'm not even sure. I read it quickly. It's maybe complicated. It's maybe not complicated, but felt like something that happened to us before would be fun to do. So it's from Dark Leafy Green. Oh, like this name. It
sounds wholesome.
So you have features A and B with following pages. So let's detail edit. Great. On page edit B, you have a drop down to select a record to type A. You might want to edit that record. So the flow would be, you have a list, detail B, edit A. Okay, interesting. So you're going back to So you design a good UX experience for that kind of flow. So some ideas: let the user exit the B flow and go all the way to A, and then go back and edit B. Okay, so quitting, do what you have to do, go back. From edit B link to select record to edit A. So you're embedding another flow in your flow. Okay. And you use a breadcrumb to indicate where the user is located. Oh yeah, you need navigation clues. That's for sure. And from edit B, you open edit A in the dialog. You do this, and you go back to edit B. Okay, so ID 1 is bad. Why? The user has to go through multiple navigation steps to achieve the desired result. Okay, ID 2 is better. Why? Because it's all in one. It's better, but it's just maybe not that fun to design. It's not that feasible also, and it can be complicated. But it's better because it's more slow. ID 3 is again a little bit better because the user don't have to leave it at base, so it's not a layer on top of it. So what do you think? How is this such a problem generally solved? That's workflow thing that I'm pretty sure you'll love to geek around.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Put on your glasses, everyone.
What?
Get your suspenders. Boop.
Oh, okay.
Suspenders, nerd. Yeah, there we go. Get my pen in my pocket. There we go. Okay, so we got to do a problem statement first, even though I don't want to.
Knowing the problem is half the battle.
Exactly. It is.
So I'm pretty sure the user is some part of an enterprise Z kind of user.
Sure.
Of a complex enterprise software. Yeah.
So I think I want to adjust edit B so that I can complete my workflow on list A.
Wait.
Yeah.
No, whatever it is, you're in a workflow, you're editing something. So your goal is to do your job.
Yes, to complete my workflow smoothly.
Exactly. But when there's something I need to take care of in another part of the software while I'm doing it, I need to be able to do it.
Yep.
Without stopping or without losing control or without, having to start over. That I think it would be a great need. So if I'm doing something and find out that I need to do something else before, just don't want to start again. That's what I feel is a problem. So I want to complete my task and don't start over when there's another subtask to be taken care of. Maybe it doesn't. Can you help me here?
I will. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Something is a little bit more creative also. That would be fun. So as a user, maybe so. Wait. I have something. As a user of a complicated enterprise software, I want to finish my task and not have to restart it when other subs needs to be completed.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think subtask and task is really good. I was like immediately thinking side quest, like in Zelda.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
yours is more precise and like actually correct. So let's go with that.
um, I will just yeah, and not
Yeah.
have to
I think
restart.
that's
No, that's
great.
it. That's good.
That's
Exactly.
good. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh yeah. I think the questionnaire approach is optional. Well, we're in a workflow, that's for sure.
Yep. Workflow.
It's not a one-step thing.
Yes, it's multi-step. And maybe there's dependencies involved.
What do you mean by dependencies?
Oh, do I not know how to spell it? Nope, I do not. Well, the okay, let's just say task list A is our primary one. That's our task, and list B is our thing that we need to manipulate. That's our subtask, right?
Yeah.
So just that list B is for list B being correct is essential to me completing my workflow on list A.
Oh yeah, that's what.
So
Sure,
that's
sure.
what I mean by dependency, just between those two, like between the subtasks. Yeah.
Exactly. Another thing to consider. So the solution that Dark Leafy Green proposed is having the same workflow on in another component. But I'm not sure it's possible. A workflow sometimes take, all the real estate, take a lot of space. So if you
Yeah.
want to, you don't have to redesign the flow to fit in a bundle. That's something we have to consider. Do you really want to redesign a new flow for something that already exists, just because you want another layer? Um,
Yeah. So kind of like building on that, I was just saying there's workflow hierarchy with subtasks. Like, you're saying building a whole new workflow is like, what?
inside a
And
model layer, yeah.
inside like one. So what I'm kind of the way I'm putting this is sort of like
Workflow with
it's the
subtasks.
mama one. It doesn't just because it happened doesn't mean we necessarily need to cover it with like or represent it as your workflow. Doesn't necessarily like in the breadcrumbs.
Oh, I
Like
see what
it
you mean.
doesn't, you know what I mean? Like if I
But you don't have to represent the subtask as a subtask. That's what you mean in a way.
yeah,
It could be part of the workflow. It's true. Yeah, smart.
it's
Yeah,
kind
good
of like
care.
it really is like a side quest like in Zelda, like you're walking along your normal map and then you like go into a thing and then you go and do some weird task and then you come right back up and then you continue. So it's like
But you
yeah.
don't feel like it was two separate things. It was one thing, one whole journey.
Well, it's like it's kind of it's one of those things where like updating that subtask or like doing that work may or may not be required every
Mm.
time. So it's not actually standard to the workflow. It's just ad hoc on the fly, just like needed to do it. And I've totally been there where you're trying to where the data model is set up in a way and you're doing a workflow where it's like, well, you don't have a bloobity blue yet. And you're like, seriously, dude?
You need a blue with blue. So do your blue with blue elsewhere, but you need to refresh, reload, all of this kind of.
Yeah, relog in, walk around the block, like, oh my God. So,
So
that's
we have
also,
to be intentional by building a workflow that have subtask in it and not just simple task and try to mix them all together.
Well, I would say like I like the approach that they're talking about. My preferred option is option 3. This is how I would deal with it, I think. So I would open up, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely, but that's me. That's also what I have in mind. The thing is, I would hate to do is I have a task. Let's say I have a task, and then the same task has to be done in a dialogue. Does it fit? Is it the same thing? Do you have, and maybe I need to customize, this task inside a model to make it fit. So it's more UI stuff. And I kind of hate it for many reasons because there's already I know how to do this flow, this task, this flow. And now because it's an exception, the same thing I'm doing is a little bit different in UI because it's on top of something. So maybe um, you don't open a page, but you open a full something on top of it. So you don't have to design two different flows that people will recognize or will kind of, oh, I know what it is. It's just another flow on top of this flow. It's not something you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd suggest like I love a good drawer.
A good drawer
A good
that can
drawer.
take a full screen or not, depending on the kind of flow. Just sit on top because this is exactly layer, like Photoshop of
Layer.
1.0, adding layer on top
Yeah.
of this. And if you design it right, it's,
Pretty cool.
it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Okay, cool.
And we love it more because versus 1 and 2 because let's write down why.
Okay. We like
Well, one is I have to start over. That's for sure. But if you don't want to start over, continue where you were, you need a saving draft. You need a different state on all the tasks. A task that is ongoing, a task that is not completed. It's adding a lot of stuff that you may forget because a task that you're just quitting temporarily needs state, and maybe someone will do it and will erase your stuff. It's complicated.
it's so complicated. It is like so I put no starting over, no lost work for users, or weird handling of like saving drafts and saving state and session data and whatever weird shit
Exactly.
that you have to do.
Weird shit is not fun. No, it's not. It's fun to design. It's not just fun to have this engineering back and forth of I can do this, but I'm not this. I need to build this, and this is complicated. And login will do, and after
It's
90 minutes,
yeah.
it will be.
It's edge case.
All
It's the edge case opener.
Edge
case
an edge
alert.
case opener. I love it. It's a new product by PNP. The edge case opener.
The edge case opener.
Yeah. Sometimes you need an electric edge case opener. Okay.
Freaks everybody out. The money just starts flying out the window, right?
Yeah. Number 2, why we hate it is, well, it's weird to have a process inside a process. You have a product inside a product inside a product. So it's a Russian doll of UI internally that you have to duplicate and.
It could, and I think that it could sort of throw off your mental model a little bit of what this workflow is.
Yeah, because you have, right? You're keeping in your frontal cortex 2 contexts at the same time. So you need to deal with 2 contexts. I'm in this one while I'm in this one, and I can see both, and that's noisy. That's too much. That's cognitive overload. And now you have to be very good at navigation, at feedback, and all of this. It's
and
not
you
fun
could
for
also
the brain.
and you could also get a sense of if it's changing, if it appears that your workflow is changing as you're doing things, it could seem less concrete and be a little bit destabilizing potentially. Like you could start feeling like, oh, it's just like changing, like what's happening. So, and you could start to take that action more seriously than it needs to be taken. Like you're just adjusting something, like cool it, you know. It's fine.
Exactly. And you may need to redesign the whole flow anyway to make sure it can be a bit. So yeah, tree it is. So if we have to answer without doing any without moving any pixels, tree makes sense. We can quickly, for fun today, without spending too much time, just design what would be the best drawer in the world, or best dialogue, a couple of best practices, and have fun. So
that sounds great.
Yeah. So let's design a flow. All design maybe just a window for fun. That's our first window. All design the progress indicator and the action button. You could.
I'll grab some inputs and some like placeholder text maybe.
Let's do that. We don't have a music for it,
Oh yeah. Oh, if you keep humming that, we might get a copyright. We might get a copyright alert. Would that happen with humming a song in a YouTube like vid?
I'm pretty sure they can find. If they could, they would.
If they could, they would, and they'd be like, "Hey, you can't do." That's true. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Label. Value. I'll just put placeholder text. Placeholder text.
Oh, whimsical, my dear friend. It's okay. I love it. Well,
you're starting to fall in love. I feel like a little bit. You're it's opening your heart to whimsical.
I opening my it's like a colac. What's the name of a colac in English? When you're living with someone else.
Like cohabitation.
Cohabitation. You kind of need to love with who you cohabitate because it can be hard.
Yeah.
So Kira forced me to use whimsical. Okay.
He's got Stockholm syndrome, so it's working out. It's working out great.
But for real, that's what we users do so many times. They said, I love it now that I'm forced to use it.
I love it now that I'm forced to use it. Oh, that's really funny. Okay, let me think. Oh, I should do some list items. I should show some list items is what I should do. Let me make some of those.
Do you see that? I've never seen this. This icon is more and more complex the bigger it gets.
Yeah, it is.
What the wonderful! Wow, that's a real delightful thing. That's why I'm starting to love whimsical a little bit more. That's little things like that. Oh, that's smart. Oh, bravo.
Whimsical. Shout out, buddies. Yeah, they do some like really like small little things like that. That's like such a good example for like responsive, right? Responsive is not just making something squished. Maybe you change the complexity. Maybe you think about it a little bit more. You're just loving that.
But it's good. It's really good. But yeah, and you gave a great explanation that.
Do we need to move our screen position?
What?
Is it? Do you need to scroll it, or is it actual? The screen that I'm looking at, don't see you moving around on it. But maybe it's just.
What? I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. All right, we'll try again later. It's fine.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. No, I don't know what you mean. Sorry.
What I mean is, task 1. My view of your screen on Riverside, it is not on the wireframe. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
But it might be
not.
just because it's like frozen from my viewpoint.
It's maybe just frozen.
Yeah. So
So we'll let it go. Let
okay.
it go.
Let it go.
You said
I
frozen.
will.
Sorry.
I'll zip it. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of make up some actions that are happening here.
Go.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's, let's see, that's not exactly done. So.
And what did we call it? List A. Yeah, list A.
Okay. Anybody on YouTube have any question, comments? Thing you dislike? No? Okay, good. So I did a small progress indicator. Let's say that this is Bren, and you have a couple of help stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So you design something. So heading, we're at a second step right now. The first step is done. And so list A, you're clicking on this for what I assume, right?
Yeah.
You're clicking on edit it to branch out to another flow, right?
This is the trigger for editing this list.
So let's duplicate it. Let's go on the right. And then what would be the best dialogue for this?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what they're editing.
Let's say it's complex and it's a form of with a couple of inputs, and they maybe need to upload a file and validate it.
Okay. So I mean, I love a good drawer because they have so much vertical space.
They do.
That you can do a lot with it. Oops.
Oh, I'm adding just one.
Yeah. So you can do a lot with it, and you can use tricks like, progressive disclosure, things like that are important to you. So like, say we've got a little description happening. Maybe they talked about tasks. So maybe there's like ability to add tasks within that list. Maybe. I'm just making stuff up, but task A, do a thing. So I'm just going to put a little list. Show how you can manipulate a list within a list. Really just making stuff up right now.
I'll just do that. Sorry. I'd like to see if it's possible. Normally, now the stuff that is inside, here is responsive and move, ideally, things like that. Takes less space and are moved, and then this can happen now. Update. And it's cool in mobile also because it's taking the full screen. And that's why I had full screen, because it's not the best icon for full screen. But you could, if you want, make it full screen. Why not? I think at this way.
Yes, indeed.
So it would not be complicated to, well, it's a little flow, a little something with just a couple of field. That's do the trick because it's, I know the context. I know, what I was doing before. I can compare. What other advantages that we have here?
Yeah, you can also have a couple of layers of depth with a drawer as well, where you can go into another layer and then come back out. You know, you don't want to go too deep into those. Usually there's like one step beyond into the abyss.
So
there's
it's
a lot you can do.
inception, but not too much. Not too much
But not too
inception that you
much,
die.
just
Okay.
a smidge, just a little gentle little bit of inceptioning. Scrolling, you can scroll
You can
within
scroll.
this kind of thing. You can put secondary navigation, like you can have tabs within a drawer.
Absolutely.
And some space to explain things. That's the other thing. You know, some space to explain things, man. Like we just don't remember to do that. And that's why I'm putting these kind of little blocks here, is if we can explain things up front, that's really great.
Even better. What I'm trying to say here is, well, if you want a more complex one, well, you could build something on top of it also with a subflow inside of it that just replicated the same patterns that you had before. So, you know, you're taking the full screen. So it's pretty much the same thing instead of, you know, maybe something like that. So you can see that it's not exactly, it's a layer on top of the other. Oh, I'm not searching for my word right now. But yeah, I think the principles are the same. But you're losing a lot of context now. You're doing that when you have too much and you have maybe a workflow inside a workflow inside a workflow, because that's you don't have to repeat, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're using the same flow, the same pattern, you know, it's progressive, you know, price indicator, you have data at the same place, all of this, so you can feel it like that. You can expand, you can scale a little bit your drawer. But a good drawer is a good drawer. It's responsive also. I mean, on small screen, just take all the space. And it's not that costly. It's very feasible to do, you know.
Yeah. Continue. Yeah.
No. Just also, it's people kind of know that right now, to know how to use sidebar, use drawers like that. And for enterprise UX, what I think I would love to work on a product like that is to utilize the full screen. You know, if it's a large screen, now you can use it. Why not? You know, if it make it feel like it's a drawer on top of something, the layer thing kind of important. That's why sometimes you have, you know, drop shadows of some kind. But why not? You know, it's a wide screen. You could make it responsive. So, you know, thing is on the left, something is on the right. It's responsive, taking the full space, and it could be very powerful. So, smaller screen. It's helpful. You can put it on top of the content if you want to. You know, that's not reinventing the wheel. That's great. I think it's the best.
Yeah, so it lets you go on a quick foray into your weird thing you need to do and come back. Not feel like you even are coming back, actually. You're walking down the street and then you look in your purse. And you're still walking down the street, right?
I like
you're not like, where am I?
yeah.
Does not happen.
So I think we found it. Do we do a quick summary? I think we can do that. No?
Absolutely.
It's a small problem. I'll leave you at the summary.
Okay. Stupendous. Okay, Dark Leafy Green, how you doing on StackExchange? Left us a question about how to deal with jumps in the navigation flow. Basically, what they're dealing with is workflow where you're working on a list and what you need to do is edit something else. And basically the question is around, how do you deal with that workflow wise? Do you make people like leave, go somewhere else and go do the thing, come back? Do you integrate it into the workflow and reflect it in the breadcrumb? Or do you use a dialogue or something kind of external on top of your workflow to deal with it? So to start things off, we have a problem statement. So as a user of complicated enterprise software, because there's no other kind, I want to finish my task and not have to restart when another subtask needs to be completed. So that's how we describe this, like mama task and baby task. Things to consider. So we just sort of thought about the problem a little bit to get us kicked off and thinking about our approach and our rationale. So the workflow is where we are, and it looks like this is, multi-step dependencies are involved with the main and subtasks. So we just kind of orient ourselves in this space. Losing your work sucks and is unacceptable. It's another thing that we're going into this with. We are also thinking about, the difference between the workflow hierarchy and subtasks. So the distinction that we have there between this is a set workflow and this is like a side quest situation that's happening. We prefer option 3, taking this sort of approach, which the option 3 was using kind of something on top of the UI to accommodate this use case. And we preferred that because there's no starting over. There's no lost work for people. And on a pragmatic point as well, we don't have to do like weird handling around saving drafts or saving that state of that workflow, or just a lot of those complexities that come with interrupting a thing like that. There's also no context switching for the user. So they don't have to like leave and then find this thing. Like think about if you have 5,000 projects in your system and you have to navigate back to that thing you were just on. Not cool. That's a big context switch. And you do have this kind of like nesting, that idea of like that nesting workflow where it grows organically can be a bit of a disruption potentially to the mental model of how people feel their workflow actually works. So it could be a little destabilizing potentially. That would be the risk that we would see with taking an approach like that. And it might place a lot of importance on this small little edit task as well. So that's sort of the things that are percolating in our brain. So Benoît and I agreed. Let's try a drawer. It's just feels right. So we made our quick little pretend mock-up. We mentioned our list A or list B, whichever one you want. And what we did is just built in a little trigger that will initiate a drawer component to be presented. And then this is our little drawer component. So we have our heading up here, we describe it, and then any of the like things you need to manipulate could be housed in here and accommodated with a scroll and different various stuff. As well as you could expand this view quite a bit and actually make it into like more of a full view potentially. So you could just kind of treat it as a flexible component. You want to add to that?
No.
No?
Exactly. No. Okay.
So a couple perks of using a drawer type of mechanism to solve something like this is that we've got our main context of the page is sustained. So we can see our reference information when we need to, because there's cases where you need to edit a thing, but you need to see the context still. We have a lot of vertical space, translates really quick to mobile. So it's fairly easy to scale that way. We can accommodate another layer of like diving in. With a mechanism like this if we need to. So there's some scalability advantages. We can do a lot more. We can do a lot in this kind of than we could in a UI component. So if we tried to say handle this with like a drop down or a combo box or something like that, it could just get really weird really quick. And I've tried. This is why I'm saying this. And it can expand. So as I was saying, like it can be flexible, it can grow, you can you don't have to know every single thing that you have to do if you use a drawer component like this. So scalability points for that one.
Huh.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I love a well-built drawer. It's good.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It smoothly slide into place.
You need to just slide into place.
Into place and all the right things in the right way. Exactly. So again, if you have a good problem of the week, don't hesitate. You know how to contact us. And by the way, what we're doing right now can be useful not just for a designer, but for everyone that do design stuff. We do have courses just for that. By the way, we have Design SOS. It's very good for people who don't know about design and want to know more about design and find more about it. So product manager who want to wireframe something, developers want to make something easier, to design something easier, have a better conversation also with designer, wherever people need a refresh on UI interaction. We do have a course for that, so go check it out. It's for beginner to intermediate. You'll love it, and we have a couple of articles coming soon. Heuristics. We have a new update on tables. Data tables. We have new patterns. We do love a good table. So go check it out. And if you want to be informed and notified of everything we're doing, just subscribe to a newsletter. There's a link down below. So there it is. Thank you so much, Kira.
Thank you.
Another fun problem of the week. Let's see each other next week.
See you soon.